Huge news, everybody. As we predicted at D23 in August, Bluey is in fact coming to the Disney parks and Disney Cruise Line in 2025. So, roughly 48 hours after Disney and BBC Studios announced a Bluey movie for 2027, the Walt Disney Company announced Bluey is coming to Disneyland in California, Walt Disney World in Florida, and Disney Cruise Line. Really, this isn't a surprise, especially since Bluey and Bingo had their own meet and greet area at D23, and Disney CEO Bob Iger has made it abundantly clear that Disney Plus performance equals investment. And since Bluey clocked in over 50 billion minutes on streaming, it was naturally a top priority. But I'm going to break down the announcement, which was somewhat brief, and then dig into what Bluey experiences we're getting at the parks, where they could be located, how we've already seen a preview of what to expect for Disney Cruise Line, and that is actually set to begin in just a few days. And dare I say it, is Bluey why Monsters Inc. is replacing Muppets at Hollywood Studios instead of Animation Courtyard? We'll touch on that. But first, let's begin with the official announcement, which was kind of two announcements in one. The first half was about Bluey and Bingo coming to Disney Cruise Line cruises originating from Australia and New Zealand only. And in describing this new addition, Disney listed special meet and greets and an interactive clue filled game that will end with a dance party, and all of which begins days from now in January. In fact, the earliest cruise I can find on the Disney Cruise Line website that fits this criteria departs as early as January 3rd. So, January 3rd could be the day that Bluey makes her Disney Experiences debut. But I wanted to point out that what we could expect from Disney Cruise Line's Bluey offerings is something we may have already seen before. Back in April of this year, and for the premiere of Bluey's The Sign, this was that half-hour special that debuted on Disney Plus on April 14th, Walt Disney Studios hosted a premiere that included a Bluey after party. And in addition to character meet and greets at this after party, as well as theme photo spots based on Bluey's world and a dance party, there was also a themed scavenger hunt called Fairy Finder, and which ended with a prize for the winners. I'm thinking the described clue-filled game for Disney Cruise Line might be the very same experience from the Bluey premiere, or at least inspired by it, as I'm now starting to think that The Sign on Disney Plus and its premiere experiences was a test for a feature film and what Disney could easily and quickly do at the parks and at sea. Now, the other half of today's announcement has to do with the Disney parks, and it acknowledges that Bluey's producers and Ludo Studio are working with Disney and BBC Studios on, and I quote, a number of special activations. Meanwhile, details about how guests can meet Bluey and Bingo and her family at the Disneyland Resort and Walt Disney World Resort will be shared in the months ahead. So to me, when I hear activations from Disney, it just screams this is going to be temporary, so I don't think we should be expecting a ride or just yet anyway. And apart from Disney also saying there will be a number of activations, meaning more than one experience or offering, Disney was pretty vague. But I still have some thoughts on what to expect and where at the parks. So as for Walt Disney World, I think Hollywood Studios is the obvious choice of park to host Bluey and Bingo. And speaking of obvious, the easiest and most cost-efficient way to incorporate them is as a new character meet and greet either in Olaf's current spot or at the character areas in Animation Courtyard. It's worth noting that Disney has already done a dance party at Animation Courtyard for Jollywood Nights, and doing the same for day guests but with a Bluey theme would really liven up this dead-end space and make it a draw for crowds, especially if Bluey makes her parks debut this summer and around the time the new Little Mermaid show opens, which is also located at Animation Courtyard. So it could bring a lot of much-needed life to this corner of the park. And if Disney can pull it off contractually, I think they'll jump on the chance to stock the gift shops with Bluey merchandise and likely offer limited time Bluey snacks and treats. So that's the obvious direction. But if Disney is really serious about this, another choice would be Star Wars Launch Bay. As Star Wars fans know all too well, there hasn't been a new theatrical Star Wars movie since 2019. And this building is equipped with spaces for photo spots and character meets that would allow Disney to recreate that Bluey after party experience indoors in air conditioning. Plus, there's even a built in theater and retail space. If this tipped the scales in Imagineering deciding that Monsters Inc. Monstropolis will replace Muppet Vision 3D in Grand Avenue, it's a stretch, I fully admit that, but knowing Bluey's popularity and its potential impact on parks revenue, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. Now, if Disney really wants to monetize Bluey and Bingo in the parks, I would keep an eye on Hollywood and Vine's Disney Junior Play and Dine Breakfast. No doubt a Bluey character meal would be a massive draw for families and add a hefty additional cost for the parks. I also think, as I'm sure most of you do, Bluey and Bingo could join the park's Disney Junior live on stage. There's already a touring Bluey stage show experience, and it would be the perfect addition for this particular show. My only hesitancy is whether Disney will want Bluey directly overshadowing Mickey and Minnie in the show. And there may be a question if the puppets from the stage show are up to the standards and style for this Disney park show. As for other possible Walt Disney World locations for Bluey, I don't think Magic Kingdom is on the table unless there's a special event. Like, I can easily see Bluey and Bingo at Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party wearing Christmas apparel next year. Epcot and Animal Kingdom are also possible. Bluey is Australian, so there's that global cultural angle there for Epcot. But I don't know where they would put a meet and greet with that kind of appeal in that park, apart from maybe World Showplace and World Showcase. Animal Kingdom will need some help this coming year as construction walls go up for Dino Land, and the fact that Bluey and Bingo are dogs and from Australia could be made to work for that park, but again, I think it's a bit of a stretch. Disney Springs might also be a possibility, but again, if Disney is smart, they're going to monetize this, meaning let's put Bluey and Bingo behind a park ticket paywall. Still, I could see some Bluey merchandise and treats making an appearance here. Going over to the West Coast, as for Disneyland, the obvious choice there would be at Disney California Adventure, particularly the Hollywoodland backlot. It's already the go-to space for anything short-term from Disney, and there's already a stage area, which is perfect for a Bluey dance party. I truly don't foresee Bluey or Bingo appearing at the Disneyland park in 2025 due to the 70th anniversary, because I don't think Disney wants to magnify the fact that one of the most popular IPs right now wasn't created by Disney. Plus, I think Bluey and Bingo over at DCA will give crowds a reason to visit that park in addition to Disneyland during the 70th, as it would really help spread out the crowds and manage attendance. So when should we expect Bluey to make her Disney Parks debut? While early summer seems like the obvious choice and the perfect time for a summer vacation promo, I had heard, but never verified, that some of the pre-existing Bluey shows and experiences were why Bluey hadn't come to the Disney parks earlier. There may be some sort of contract concerning that. Again, I don't know if that is true, but it does make sense. And since some of these experiences aren't expected to end until later in 2025, I'm thinking it may be a while before Bluey and Bingo arrive at Disneyland or Disney World. And this may be why Disney didn't feel the need to provide specifics about what they're offering in the parks in today's announcement. Again, take all of that with more than a pinch of salt, but there is some logic to it. Well, that is all I have for now. More to come on the subject once we know more, especially since this particular integration is happening before a movie instead of after a movie, which isn't something Disney usually does. But given Bluey's worldwide popularity, it is a smart move, and I'm personally very interested to see just how much money Disney is going to pump into these activations, or if they feel they need to at all, as they may think Bluey is big enough draw on her own. Interesting stuff for sure. But if you love Disney Park and Disney Cruise Line news, if you're excited or simply curious from a strategic POV about Disney bringing this IP into the parks, please give this video a like to let me know and consider subscribing to the channel. I'm a travel and entertainment reporter with a passion for the Disney parks, and with 2025 being a huge year for news and developments, I'd love to have you along for the ride and for what I have planned for the channel. But regardless, thank you so much for taking the time to listen, and I hope you have a magical day.